Hey you guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I hope you guys are all doing good. I hope you guys are all well. So I know you probably saw the title of the video and you're like, what the hell is she talking about? Well, let me tell you what I'm talking about. Today we're going to be talking about a very important subject to me, and something that I have personally gone through. The purpose of me doing this YouTube video and these YouTube videos, in fact, was for me to be candid, for me to be authentic, to be real, and to really tell you guys the things that I've been through or things that I've experienced and how possibly you can learn from the same thing if you're in it or you have been through it. Okay, so my title for today is Lessons from a Recovering Perfectionist. So, you know what, guys? I think we need to first define what that is and understand what that means, because I think sometimes you can call yourself certain things. Like when you go to an interview, they ask you, what are your strengths? I'm a perfectionist, I'm a hard worker, you always have these nice words to quickly say about yourself. But I think for me, I used to be that person. I completely was that person until I actually came to a point where it was starting to destroy me, and it was actually starting to be something toxic rather than something, positive. So the definition of perfectionism. Okay, so we're starting by defining what it means, right? So a perfectionist is a person who refuses to accept any standard short of perfection, right? And then the adjective of that is refusing to accept any standard short of perfection. Yeah, that's basically what it is. So it's refusing to accept any standard short of perfection. Now that, my dear friends, is the dictionary definition of what perfectionism is: refusing to accept any standard shorter than perfect. Okay, and here is the Pelisa definition of what a perfectionist is. A perfectionist, in light of what you just heard now, somebody who refuses to accept any standard shorter than perfection. Number one, my definition of it is somebody who refuses to accept things for what they are. Number two, somebody who is obsessed with being correct. Somebody who is obsessed inherently with winning. A perfectionist, in my definition, is somebody who is inherently obsessed with coming up on top, no matter what it takes, right? And a perfectionist, in my opinion, is somebody who has a delusional idea of life, of people, of society, because they expect perfection. And my dear darlings, there is no such thing as perfect, because no one on the earth is perfect, and things that we have around us, whether it's technology or whatever, it was made by people, so even that cannot be perfect. It can make our lives easy, but there's no such a thing as the blueprint of perfection except Jesus Christ. Even the Bible says that no one is good. Even Jesus says call no one good, because the only perfect person who walked on this earth without sin was Jesus. So for me, when I merge the dictionary definition of it and the Pelisa definition of it, you come out with a person with unreal expectations. And that's why I had to leave that. But it wasn't voluntary, okay? Because I grew up thinking that things must be perfect. And let me say this: when you say things must be perfect, in actual fact, what you're saying is things must be perfect in your view, in your understanding, in the way that you want to see things, right? So things could actually be going well, even in a relationship, but because they're not going your way, then they're not perfect. Then the relationship is not working. Then you just want to get out of it. You get what I'm saying? And this is not only like romantic relationships, but also professional relationships, friendships, family dynamics, whereby you feel like your views in the family, in the friendship, in the professional relationship must supersede everyone because the way you see things are perfect. That is, first of all, very selfish. That is, second of all, very limiting to what you can do. Because remember, we were all made on this earth to come together in community. There's power, there's strength in our community, in our coming together, with different ideas, different ways to come up with something better. You by yourself, you can't do what you can do with somebody else. That's a fact. You understand what I mean? Because two heads, two minds will always be better than one, because they can make something amazing and something great. So when you are a perfectionist, you are harping on the idea that, number one, you are perfect. And then number two, everybody who comes near you must also hold the same idea of perfection that you hold, which is also, a little bit not fair. And I was that person, guys. I will be completely honest with you. I was that person, because I just felt like I'm the kind of person who, first of all, when I do something, I really put all of my effort in it, whether it's a friendship, a relationship, work, whatever. Like, I'm all in, and I expected the same from people, that if I'm doing something with you, you need to be all in. You need to be like as crazy, as passionate. If I call you at 10 o'clock, you must be, on fire for it. And that was not how things panned out. And then I would get upset with people like, you're not serious about this project, you're not serious. And it's not that they were not serious about the project or about, whatever we were doing. It's just that my idea of serious about the project is not what everyone's going to be. You know what I'm saying? And I had to let that go, right? So let me tell you guys about an incident that happened with my previous employer. I was working in a very high pressure environment, and I thrive on pressure. Like, I like pressure. I like feeling like I've got a lot on my plate. I'm doing a lot. I like that. It really keeps me going. But there's sometimes like too much of it, right? And I was in a place where I was like in like a lot of pressure, under a lot of pressure, and the working relationship I had with that person was just not great at all. So so there was something that she asked me to do, right? And she was like my superior at the time. And I was like, I just started panicking, you guys. And I ran to the bathroom at work, and I started shaking, and I couldn't breathe. I didn't know what was happening to me. Like, legit, I did not know what was happening to me. I started shaking, and luckily somebody saw me run out, and they saw that I was not okay. Because before I went out, she was like shouting at me. And this was publicly in a open plan office space. So can you imagine? And somebody saw me run out, and then they followed me to the bathroom. When they got there, I was on the floor. Like, I didn't know what was happening to me. Guess what? I was having a panic attack. Legit. And as people, and I'm going to say it, like, for me, I didn't know what a panic attack was. I've heard about panic attacks and stuff, but I didn't know how it manifests, And so when I saw myself on the floor, and they had to get like Coke, they had to take off my shoes and all these things, I didn't even know. Luckily, there were people who knew what was going on, right? And then they gave me like Coke and stuff to get my sugar. And also, I was fasting at the time, and guess what? I was fasting for our relationship with that lady to be okay. And so I was obviously hungry and tired, and it was a combination of a lot of things. But anyway, my boss at the time was like, okay, you need to go for counseling, because if something happens like that in a work environment, obviously they need to make sure that they cover themselves in a way, by taking care of the employee, and say, employee, you must go for counseling. And it was arranged by the company. And I met such an amazing lady, you guys. Like, for me, that was actually my first experience of therapy and counseling, I must say. And it was so beautiful. It was so, so beautiful. I know sometimes we shy away from the idea of going for therapy because they're like, only psycho people do that, or only this kind of people do that. Guys, that's not true. If you need to talk to somebody who is objective, somebody who has no biased view, somebody who is a professional, more importantly, who can actually analyze your thought patterns and help you to process stuff, then I would really recommend you go for therapy. So this was like for a week with this lady. And it wasn't a week, it was 4 weeks, but it was once a week. Guys, it was incredible. It was so amazing. And we actually we didn't even really speak about the incident itself, but she asked me questions that like, I didn't even know were issues in my life. And she was like, why do you put so much pressure on yourself? Because in essence, the reason why you felt like you can't breathe, you're out of breath, is because you felt like you're failing this lady who's your superior. And so why do you put so much pressure on yourself? And then it started to unravel a lot of things, right? And then that's where I saw that. Then she said to me, you have a perfectionism complex. All right, what's that? She's like, it is the desire to be perfect. It is the pressure you put on yourself to be 100% at every moment in time. And the truth is, you are a human being. You cannot be 100% all the time. People cannot be 100% all the time. You need to accept that, and you need to embrace that. And that was a shocker for me. Like, I don't even want to lie to you guys. because I never saw myself as that. I just felt like I'm a good leader, people listen to me, people do what I want. And in a way, in fact, when I look at it now, they did it probably out of fear and wanting to impress me more than they were actually doing it to enjoy whatever task or whatever thing we were doing. So that was a big learning curve for me, right? And that's when I actually felt like, I'm not going to wake up early and start working, because I used to work 6 days a week. Okay, well, 7. Okay, I used to do professional work from Monday to Saturday. Saturdays I didn't have to, but I did, because I just felt like I need to be on the ball. Sundays I was working at church, like serving a church from maybe call it 7 o'clock with intercession. Then we'd have 3 services, and I was there active in every. So I almost didn't have a chance to rest. I didn't rest, and I just felt like, why do you rest? Because first of all, this is a professional career, you need to be on it. Sunday, people, the souls are ready, like I just put this pressure on myself. And she even said something to me. She said, do you know that if you dropped and died today, the world would continue? And I was so offended. I was like, child. But she was right. Sometimes we put this pressure on ourselves that if I'm not there, everything's gonna collapse. If I don't go to work, things are not gonna collapse. Yes, maybe there might be confusion because you're not there and you're usually the voice of reason, but life is gonna continue. And life for that people in that business, in that organization, in that family, whatever, their lives are gonna continue. So don't kill yourself thinking that you're doing something for other people when at the end of the day you're actually disadvantaging yourself. You know what I mean? I ended up in a panic attack because of the pressure to say I need to work 7 days a week because of this, because of that, because of that. And all those becauses were never me. There were always other people or clients or whatever. So that's actually when my turning point was. And then I was like, actually, no, I'm going to put myself first. I'm going to value my time. I'm going to value rest. Yesterday I woke up at 5 o'clock and I started working. By the time it was 8 and my meeting started for the day, I was already done with all of my, like admin work that I need to do, that I don't find time to do. And that was a beautiful day, and the day progressed and I continued to work. Today I felt tired. So my alarm rang at 5 and I was like, child, no. And I woke up at 7, 2 hours later, but I'm feeling great. I'm doing a video today. Yesterday I couldn't because, and so I've learned to give myself this grace that things don't always happen as you plan. Things don't always work out as you plan, because what I realized about me is that on top of being a perfectionist at the time, I was also an overthinker. So I was like an over planner, like, okay, I'm going to wake up in the morning, 6 o'clock, like that. And life doesn't always happen in that sequence. And the thing is, if it doesn't happen in that sequence, then you start thinking that you failed. You start thinking that, you haven't met your goals or whatever. And it's not really about that. I used to struggle with thoughts of like, I'm so inconsistent, I never do things perfectly. And the reason why I thought I was inconsistent is because I wanted my consistency to be routine. Whereas consistency is not necessarily routine. Consistency is doing what you need to do when you need to do. Do you get what I mean? So if you are a person who said, I'm going to wake up every day and I'm going to start exercising at 6 o'clock, right? You do it for the first 3 days. The 4th day, maybe you're sick, or maybe you're not feeling well, or maybe you're just tired, or you're lazy. You don't do it on the 4th day. Then you're like, 5th day, 6th day. Then you're actually out of sequence. Why? Because you thought consistency means routine. It means the same time, the same way. Whereas it's not. Consistency means that doing what you need to do when you need to do. So even if you couldn't do 6 o'clock today to exercise, maybe try it at 12. Or see how it works at 7 o'clock. Don't stop doing what you need to do just because you didn't do it in accordance to your routine. Because then you're never going to reach your goals, because life is always going to happen. And if you have an unrealistic idea of what a perfect day looks like, or a perfect husband looks like, or a perfect wife, in fact, if we're talking about the romantic side of it, I think my husband has taught me a lot about letting go of the idea of perfect. Because sometimes I would be hounding him, and this was before in our relationship, hounding him about you must be like this. Then he's like, let go of that idea. that you have in your head, because we even push people away. You know, we push friendships away because we think people must do what we want them to do at the time we want them to do it, and that's not correct, guys. So I just wanted to share that with you, to say, watch out how I'm a perfectionist. You know, I'm always plays out in your life. It can manifest in different ways. It can manifest in you being bossy. It can manifest in you always wanting what you want. You know, you're going to buy groceries and you're choosing between apples and bananas. Your sister wants apples, you want bananas, and you throw a fit because you want the bananas. That's also a toxic trait, or another trait of, you know, a perfectionism complex, because you think it's perfect to have bananas and not perfect to have apples, no matter what the other person thinks, right? So these are the things that become limiting factors in our lives as we grow, as we get older, as we even have children, because we sort of mold this idea of a perfect child to them. You know what I'm saying? And you don't let a child be, because you have this obsessive idea of how they should be. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's just what I wanted to share with you guys, and to say, if you maybe feel like you resonate with this video and you feel like this is you, this is what you do, I'd say seek some help, you know, seek some guidance, seek some counsel before you end up pushing people away in your life, you know, because I remember I had like friends who maybe things would, like, we'd have a fight and they'd say, oh, you're so bossy, and I would never see that. And obviously I wouldn't, because you can't see yourself. And that's why it's always important to also have people that you can be open with and be like, am I like this? You know, am I like that? And reflect and really improve on yourself. You know, this is a video to inspire someone. This is a video to let someone know that you don't have to be perfect in order for things to be perfect, because there's such thing as a perfect person. There's no such thing as a perfect idealism. You know, the movies we watch, you guys, that is scripted first and foremost. You know, that is directed, that's produced. There are many people that are trying to develop this perfect moment, you know, when you see somebody on TV and they propose and it's so perfect. Guys, that's scripted. Our lives are not scripted. Our lives are real. And allow yourself to be real. Allow yourself to be vulnerable. Allow yourself to not be right all the time. Allow yourself to not have your way all the time, because that's also how you appreciate other people's views and other people's needs. You know, that's how you grow and develop as a person. So don't let the complex of perfectionism stunt you, because it will, because you'll never grow outside of your idea of perfect. You know, continue to grow, continue to learn, continue to want to know more of how other people are doing things, you know, and understand that just because it's not the way you think it should be, it doesn't make it wrong. Just because it's not the way that you think it's correct, it doesn't make it demonic even. You know, let's appreciate and understand where different people are coming from, and that's how really we grow and develop. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you guys are gonna comment. I really enjoy your comments. I hope you guys are gonna comment on the video, that you're gonna like the channel, that you're gonna subscribe to the channel, that you're gonna share our videos, tell your friends, tell your families, tell everybody to just, you know, watch these videos and really be inspired. Thank you guys. Love you.